The other and the final feature I want to mention today in what happened to these Hebrew women, these Hebrew goddesses, is that Yahweh assimilates their features. So what we have, and what I want to go over in great detail with you in class, I'm just introducing the topic now, is a whole series of mostly poetic descriptions of Yahweh, quotations from Yahweh, narratives about things that Yahweh does that expressly describe Yahweh not as a male deity, nor as some kind of a transsexual being that inhabits both male and female, but express imagery that describes Yahweh as a female doing female things. And I'll just give you the categories so you'll know what I'm talking about. We have examples, and Proverbs 8 is one of them, by the way, where we see Yahweh giving birth. And lest you think this has kind of been desexualized, the descriptions are usually about labor pains, about Yahweh groaning in labor to give birth to Israel. So we have a number of instances of that. We have instances of Yahweh breastfeeding. And I'm really disappointed that there's a term for Yahweh in some of the early passages, El Shaddai, which scholars used to think means God the breasted one. And I'm told that it doesn't really mean that, and as a mistaken understanding of the language that's used, and I don't know enough about the fine points of linguistics and cognate literature to be able to determine it for myself, but I really wish that were true. And there is evidence of that elsewhere, of Yahweh breastfeeding, and finally, Yahweh nurturing her children. The process was probably that as these figures lost legitimacy in Israel, the features that, for instance, Asherah had become assimilated into things that the worshiper describes Yahweh as. So Yahweh is like Asherah in that Yahweh gives birth, brings fertility. So what we have there is what we might say a feminization of the characteristics of Yahweh as a compensation for the loss of the free worship of these Israelite goddesses. I might add that the worship of the goddesses never was completely eradicated in Israel, although many efforts were certainly made. And the continued presence and importance of Chokhmah in later Israelite literature is an indication of the staying power of some of these divine figures. So, conclusion, radical monotheism, which transfers in to most Jewish and Christian conceptions, does not fully describe the totality of Israelite experience. That there's a lot more going on in Israel than this single radical monotheistic party that believed in the existence of only one God, all other gods are delusional. That we have the presence of Israelite goddesses, some of whom are demonized, others of whom are assimilated into Yahweh, and others of whom, for various reasons, remain unrehabilitated as full goddess figures within the Hebrew Bible. And then we also have this very strong link between divine characteristics and female characteristics, admittedly still a minority. The overwhelming majority of biblical texts portray Yahweh as a male deity with no female correspondent goddesses. That's the overwhelming majority of texts. But they are these minorities which hint at a much more diverse, at a much more interesting Israelite theological engagement than is what we usually hear. Thank you very much.